What is happening, friends of CCP Podcasting? I hope you guys are having a fantastic Sunday. It is the start of a new year, and it is our second episode of Beyond the Bell for 2026. I am Chris Page. If you're joining us live on Twitch, welcome. If you're going to be catching us over on X, I hope you're doing well. Unfortunately, we're in YouTube jail until next Friday, so you guys won't be able to see us there until then. This should be a fun show. I always enjoy these Beyond the Bells because I always get an opportunity to learn, and I get a chance to hear other people from all parts of the country and talk to them. And usually it's professional wrestling. It's a wrestler, I should say. Today's show is not necessarily a wrestler, but someone who's definitely got their hands involved in professional wrestling. They have a platform that we're going to talk a lot about here today. Before we get there, I got to remind you guys on January 31st, CCP Podcasting presents Chapter 2. Next Level is in Orlando, Florida. Tickets on sale at ccppodcasting.com. We have about 5 guys coming to Florida to make their debuts, taking on some of the best in the state of Florida. You definitely want to be there. This is going to be one of those shows that is going to set the pace for what we're going to do in 2026 and beyond. Please, there's still a handful of tickets left. This probably is going to sell out, and it will be our first if that is the case, and it will be a major happening. You can make things happen. All you got to do, head over to the website, get your ticket. It's easy to do. And everybody's rolling in on Twitch. Hey, Harry's wife, Shannon, I see you. What's happening, UK Paul? Shannon, there's your stretch. And Goth, what's happening, brother? Hope you're doing well. Our guest today, let's get into the meat and potatoes of why we're here. The beautiful thing about podcasting and being a podcaster is being able to collaborate and find like-minded people who share the same passion that you do and share the same drive for whatever it is. It could be independent wrestling. It could be professional wrestling in general. And that's where our guest comes to us from today. Now, guys, I'm sure you're well aware. We spent a lot of time with Justin with the I Love Wrestling podcast. We've got really good partnerships with him. We got a fantastic partnership with Matt over at Throwdown with Matt. But we also have a really good partnership with our good brother from overseas. And that is where we're going today. He's from Hitting the Turnbuckles Podcast. It is our bro. Adam, but you may call him Adamski is what we're gonna refer to him today. What's happening, brother? Welcome to CCP Podcasting. I'm pleased to have you here today for our second Beyond the Bell of 2026.
Chris, it's a privilege to be here. Thanks for inviting me on. And yes, Adam or Adamski is 2 words that I get called. Can't really probably say the others, but those are the 2 we'll go with.
Well, you can because we're not made for children, but we won't because it's just probably not what we want to do. I say Adamski or Adamski as in broski, so I'm gonna fuck it up and butcher it all show. It's gonna happen. How are you doing, man? Did you have a good holiday season? Good New Year? Good Christmas season? All that good stuff?
Yeah, it's been great. Family. So I live near London-ish in the UK. So my family live in Cornwall, which is right down the south side. So they come up for Christmas. We had that. Good Christmas, good New Year. But it's cold now over here in the UK. And guys with no hair, it doesn't work for good when you have no hair in the cold weather.
I'm there, brother. I'm thinning on top. Why do you think I keep buzzing it down? Over on Twitch, Goth says, welcome to CCP Podcasting. He's one of our co-hosts. Actually, he's over in the Netherlands. And we've got another one of our co-hosts, Paul's in chat. Hope you're doing well. He's over in the UK. He's going to the Wrestling Resurgence show on the 28th of February.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like 10. We found out he was 10 minutes away from where that was at. I was like, go. Let's make that happen. Well, let's dive in. Like I always, I know that you've got a platform and we're going to talk all about that. But before I get there, I'm going to treat you kind of like I treat everybody that comes in. I got to know, where does your fandom and where do you fall in love with professional wrestling? What's that look like for you?
Wow. Obviously in the UK, we didn't have Sky until the late 80s, early 90s. I was quite fortunate. We got Sky quite early upon its inception. And lo and behold, there it was, the WWF, as it was called then. Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant, Sergeant Slaughter, Macho Man, Randy Savage, all those guys. And as a kid growing up, seeing these larger-than-life athletes were just mesmerizing on my TV. So that's really where it started. And then obviously as the eras changed in wrestling into the new generation, into the Monday Night Wars, into the Attitude Era, and now into, I call it the social era or the reality era that we're in now. It's or the Netflix era. But yeah, it began in the late 80s, early 90s when I first got Sky TV.
and it just didn't stop from there. Sorry, I was taking a sip of water and ended up coughing. I
No
didn't take
worries.
myself off of mute. So when you dive in and really, the Monday Night Wars was a really big thing, obviously,
Yeah.
and still something that's talked about to this day. And I mean, that's kind of where. I mean, my fandom started back in the 80s, like back in
Yeah.
territory days. But the
Mhm.
90s was when I was like peak, right? Like I was a
Yeah.
teenager at that point in time. So I was all into everything that was going on. What point in time, obviously you're being in the podcast game, and
Mm.
putting a platform together and looking at the different things that may work and not work. Let's start there. With hitting the turnbuckles. Where does this concept come to mind for you?
Well, funnily enough, the podcast was started by my good friend of mine, Andy Burrows. So he started it during COVID years. Yeah, Andy has or had 3 or 4 other podcasts. He does it for the Washington, I think it's Commanders over in America. I think it was Redskins. Now it's Commanders. I'm not NFL related, so I don't know.
Mhm.
He has a soccer one over here in the UK for Dunstable Town, and then him and his good buddy from the States, Parker, started hitting the turnbuckle during COVID, and as generally what people was doing there when he was at home, couldn't leave the house, whatnot. And I've known Andy for 15 years prior to this. We met at a Stone Cold Steve Austin signing in Oxford Street in London. Stayed good friends, went to a TNA show at Wembley. We'd kept in touch ever since. And I went to the WWE done Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, Wales, a few years ago. And I went to that event, and Andy texted me and said, "Hey, we're doing this review for my podcast, or the podcast, after the Clash of the Castle. Would you like to come on and share your experience?" And my first response was, "I've known you 15 years. You've got a wrestling podcast and never told me." And to be fair, I'm not a podcast watcher. I watch clips, and clips that you get on YouTube. I've never really been invested in the podcast, but he said to come on, so I did, and then in from there. What happened was, obviously, like you guys, it's like 10 a.m. over there or 10 past 10 over there. It's 10 past 3 over here. It was getting difficult for him and Parker to get the shows out because of timings and availability and whatnot. And after the podcast that I went on, I get a message to say, "Look, do you fancy doing this like a full-time thing with me? We're doing X, Y, and Z." And that's where it begun from me. And in from there, we've done partnerships with the UK Wrestling, TNA, NWA, and AEW, and we've done 2 shows, a bit like yourself there. We partner with a promotion over here in the UK called Ignite, where we got our own championship, and we partner with them on shows. And yeah, the rest is history. Kind of from that point when Andy said, "Do you fancy doing this as a regular thing?" It's been there for the last 3 years.
Well, all right. So let's go back to when he asked. He was like, because again, this platform, we put it together, really, just to watch fucking wrestling. That's what we were doing anyway. We were just putting a camera on us, and we did it. We got started after COVID. We've only been around for about a little over 2 years. And it just the passion took over to dive into the independent scene. And
Yeah.
what I like about what you've got going on over there, at Hitting the Turnbuckles, which, guys, I do want to point out, it's on the screen. Go over to his link tree, at Hitting the Turnbuckle Podcast. You're going to get access to everything, all social media, YouTube, the whole kit and caboodle. It's all right there. When you put everything together and you really start honing in on this, what does that look like for you? So go back 3 years, and he says, "Hey, do you fancy doing this? Do you want to do this with us?" And you say yes. So when do your responsibilities start increasing a little bit? And at what point is your role really, like, what are you working on for them at that point?
Pretty much from the get-go, it was the same as Andy, really. We were working together on everything. We were putting the shows together weekly. We were working out, I can watch Raw this day. When can you watch Raw? So it's kind of positioning the calendar so that we had days available to review. And we still do to this day. SmackDown, not so much because it just falls on an awkward day over here in the UK. But we were like, Raw goes on out on a Monday or a Tuesday over here. We would review it Tuesday or a Wednesday. By then, Dynamite would be done, so we'd look at that. Then move on to try to get SmackDown done, Collision. So first part about it was just planning the days out, working towards our schedules. We've all got other jobs that we do. Like I said, Andy does a lot of other podcasts before before he took a step back to this and kind of left it to me. We ended up bringing on a good friend of mine called David Robinson as well, later, about 6 months later, just due to the fact that there's so many shows that we were doing. And at that point, kind of the responsibility for me increased a bit more, because I was where Andy was doing a lot of the social side with Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it. We then got ourselves obviously on Instagram, so I took over that. My girlfriend Rachel was doing all the pictures and whatnot for it. So gradually over the course of time, it went from looking at the calendars to then trying to get interviews on, and then later on down the line, the partnership with Ignite happens.
Well, see, I love the fact that this thing kind of just blossomed over the course of just a couple of years. If that tells you anything, it's just how powerful things can be, right? Like, that's the beautiful thing. That's why I enjoy doing what we do, and I think that's why a lot of us that are tied together enjoy what we're doing. It's just because we enjoy it. It's fun. It's not a job. It's, it could be looked at as a job, but it really and truly, this is what we do. This is how, at least for me, man, this is how I find a lot of fun is learning the process. And, independent wrestling is where we thrive. And you mentioned Ignite. So how do you guys get tied in with them initially? What's that story?
So the story was we were kind of floating around a few partnerships. We had a couple of other wrestling companies that we were sort of sponsoring at the time, just dabbling our feet into the just trying to get the name out there. Really, that's really what we were trying to do. And again, it goes back to Andy. He said, "Oh, there's this promotion, basically in Boreham Wood, which is just outside of London." Fun enough, you mentioned you got a show coming up, or your friends seeing a show in the UK on the 28th, I think, on February. He said on
Yes.
the 15th of February. On the 15th of February, Ignite have got their next show, which is Chapter 5 in Boreham Wood. We'll talk about that in a bit more later. But anyway, Andy knew about this promotion and said, "Look, do you fancy going down and having a look and see what you think?" And we went down there and Ignite, one of the things I would say, because you can get promoters that are very protective of their promotion, and you can come down, but you can't do this X, Y, and Z, which is absolutely fine. It's your promotion. Ignite just opened the doors and said, "You pretty much do what you want," kind of thing, for want of a better phrase. So we done some live interviews for the first time there with the talent that had matches during the show. We uploaded it straight to YouTube, all the platforms, so people could see ahead of the show time what was going on. And then from the first show, literally from the first show in April, we made an agreement that we would do what we call Buckle Up, which was a production where we would work together with Ignite on a show. Basically, for want of a better phrase, we'd pay for the show in many ways, talent, everyone. And we had a choice of who to bring in. So people in the United States may be familiar with Michael Koo now. AEW, lots of AEW appearances on Ring of Honor and on some of the shows. We brought him in. A couple of other guys with Luke Jacobs, who's another big UK talent. Spike Trevay,
Oh yeah,
has been on it. Spike, another big UK talent that we've had on. Will Cruz, who's done a lot of tours in America and Japan recently. He's come in. Eddie Dennis from NXT UK. So over the last 3 years, we've done 3 of these Buckle Ups. 3 of them sold out, and but the partnership really started from Andy sort of knowing about the promotion. We went down there, and it was just the way we call it home when we do this now. And then because we feel as if we're at home now with Ignite. And a couple of months after the first show, or on the first show that we put together in that July, we announced the Turnbuckle Championship would debut in September. We crowned our first Turnbuckle champion in September of 2024, and then it went on from there to where it is now. And we use that as a platform to give these wrestlers an opportunity to perhaps face people on their bucket lists, if we can. Obviously, there's a budget, as you know, putting on shows. We have a budget, and we'll try and afford who we can afford, but that's where the likes of Spike Trevay and Eddie Dennis have come in the past, and Will Cruz, and to give them the opportunity to learn from the people that have gone out. Like an Eddie Dennis was NXT UK, so he had been to WWE, he had done all that stuff. He'd come on, and our champion at the time spent a lot of time with Eddie working through a match. They'd done like an Andre Hogan type of match in many ways, sort of like our champion was defending coming up, was sort of on the back foot, the majority kind of hulks up, for want of a better word, and then finishes the match off. But he come out and said, "I've never learned so much in my life from this couple of hours spent with Eddie Dennis." And Eddie was sitting backstage watching people's matches and giving feedback for the whole card, not just our match as well. So it's all about that and trying to bring in the best names possible to help Ignite grow as well as helping our talent learn from the best in the business.
See, I love that, and this is where I don't ever know where I'm going to connect with people on these interviews or these conversations. Literally, we are about a year and a half behind you because everything that you just said is exactly what we are just starting. I went even down to the championship. Our belt is being delivered to my house tomorrow. And it's so. This is where I say, like, man, like-minded people. That's what we're trying to do with our live events, is to go to local markets all over the United States and ultimately try and do the world, and put these guys in there with people so that they can learn. And you mentioned Eddie Dennis, a pillar of the UK scene. We've had the honor of diving into UK wrestling specifically weekly for the last year and a half. I've seen a lot, and we have some relationships with several companies where we're able to stream their events, like with Progress, and North will send me shows that are behind their paywalls for us to show, like, this is why we're doing this, and put their stuff out there and give these guys the opportunities. And the thing that you just said that tickled me the most was when your champ said, I had not learned as much as I have learned or learned in wrestling than I did by just spending 3 years with Eddie Dennis. That's the payoff. That's the fucking win.
Yeah, it is. It was great. It was so good to have that. And to have Eddie sit there and watch the matches as well for that show and deliver feedback to some of the younger talent, well, all the talent really, that Ignite have got on, because Ignite, they do a thing called the breakout division, where they give these younger talents an opportunity to come in and to become a regular on that division. And a lot of those breakout division guys are now in the likes of Progress and Revolution Pro Wrestling. Nino Bryan was the former cruiserweight champion of Rev Pro recently. He started he started at other promotions as well, but prevalent in Ignite. Taylor James is another one who's been doing a lot on the Rev Pro scene at the moment with a team called CPF, who one of them now is the cruiserweight champion in Joe Lando. Again, all started at Ignite. Kit Wilson from the WWE now started at Ignite. Pretty Deadly started there. So, those are the people that went through Ignite to get to where they get to now. And it's just so good as well when you're there and you're watching these guys. I done a bit of scouting. I went to a couple of local events to see some of the younger talent that are coming through the local scene, potentially to go to Ignite and to, come up to their, not saying their level, but their standard. And like, it's just so exciting to be a part of their journey through wrestling as well. It's just like, I remember when I scouted you and now you're going off and doing these great things, and it just gives you a bit of pride in yourself at the same time.
It does, 100%. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many guys over here that I've had an eye on, and I will continue to have, and I'm getting the opportunity to work with them and bring them into different areas and put them in different markets and in front of different audiences. And I think for me, that's going to be the biggest gratification is I helped, I just, gave you a platform to go out and do something in a different state, in a different location, or in a different country for that matter. And I'm not gonna say I'm very familiar with Ignite. I've seen some stuff from Ignite, and I think we've talked to several people who have been attached to Ignite. Did Critchy work over there for a hot minute, or is he still over there?
Possibly, yeah, I think so. Not from Ignite, but they were called Clash back in the day as well. So there was two. So the guy you may know, Gene Money, who does a lot of Progress, he worked with the promoter of Ignite. They done Clash together at the same venue for a few years. So they could have been involved in that. And obviously we know where Gene's now. He's at North. He's at Progress. He's pretty much everywhere as that damn dirty dog.
Yes, he is, and he is freaking hilarious wherever he's at. Like he always gets a chuckle out of me, and I just think that there's some stuff that he does that is hilarious, like the Moneywood Blondes as an example that I've had the honor of sitting down and watching and had no clue what I was about to see when it came on, and I giggled the entire fucking match because it was it was great. It was just that good to me. But when you bring out your championship, so obviously it's now got some lineage for what, a year and a half, almost 2 years now. What was the initial when you say you're going to put some bucket list stuff together and let some of these guys and these girls get out there and do their thing? What were some of your matches that stand out to you over the last year and a half to 2 years for the hitting the Turnbuckle Championship?
It's always for me. I've always wanted it to be like the. I hate they'll use the word workhorse because they're all workhorses, especially on the indies when
Sure.
you've got to, you go out everywhere, you wrestle 4 or 5 times a week or whatever. But it was always about two things: bring in those bigger names to Ignite Wrestling to help Ignite grow was always the big thing. And I know it sounds like I'm blowing smoke with Ignite, but it's always been the thing. We always try to give back to the people that have helped us. Ignite have done so much for us. So for me, the first thing was bringing in the making this title the workhorse. We want to put it on. I'm not saying that everyone doesn't work hard, but we knew who the popular people were at Ignite straight away. And then there's people that catch your eye coming in. So the first time we put it on a guy called Smashing Mike, who was one of the most popular guys at Ignite Wrestling. He got the biggest crowd reactions, but he never had a championship there. So the first port of call for me was that's the obvious choice, putting it straight on him because the pop he got when he won it was, well, it's probably on our YouTube somewhere that you could probably go and see. But it's the forefront of it is to help Ignite grow as a company, to bring on these bigger names. And selfishly for us, I want these big names to come in and promote Hitting the Turnbuckle as well, right? Because if we got a Spike Trevay or an Eddie Dennis or a Luke Jacobs coming in for our championship, or Alexis Falcon recently come in for our title, what better way to have them putting out there, I'm going after the Hitting the Turnbuckle Championship at Ignite. So increasing ticket sales from Ignite, giving us some publicity as well. But on the forefront of everything, it's always been helping Ignite grow. That's been the key part of it.
I love to hear it, man. I love to hear it. And you just talked a little bit earlier. There is a show coming up in February for Ignite. So can we chat a little bit about that? Or let me say this, because let's chat about what we can chat about, because I don't know if there's anything that we can't chat about with the show. But what do we have coming up there? Like, this is the first show of 2026 for Ignite, correct? Yeah.
It is, yeah, the first show. So fun enough, yours is called Chapter 2, Ignite's is called Chapter 5. So it works out there. So it works out their 5th year night, and I can give you 4 of the 6 matches have already been announced.
Okay.
And Ignite do a great bit because Ignite also try independence. It's always a bit difficult to bring storylines into it because you never know talent availability or whatnot. I'm sure you understand that as well. So 2 of the matches on Ignite, the championship matches, all have a story evolved to it. So the main event is going to be Taylor James that will take on Tommy Kyle and Tommy Tanner. So the 3 T's will go against each other in this. Now the story for this one, Taylor James won the championship. Tommy Kyle recently lost that championship and has got a chance to get it back. Taylor James beat him. He had a Money in the Bank briefcase, shall we say, that he fooled the world because he put the match. This was his last opportunity to use it in July. They had the match, but he didn't effectively cash in until the end of that match. So he lost the match, Taylor, then cashed in and won the match. Won his championship. So Tommy hasn't had a rematch since then. He's been fighting his way to get back. He didn't want to invoke his clause straight away. He wanted to take on some of the best the UK has to offer. Harrison Bennett in from Wales was the last guy that he took on. So he's now at that point to where he's ready. Tommy Tanner won the breakout division, who you may have seen at the last Progress show. If you've watched it, he was on there. He won the breakout and was going to cash in at the last show, but was stopped by Taylor James's bodyguard, Tall Tom Mercer. So now Tommy has decided, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to tell you that I'm cashing in. So there's your main event. That's a triple threat match, and there's a story behind it. Our championship match has been announced. Aluna, who has been our champion for the majority of 2025. She's one of, again, we're talking about the people that are most popular at Ignite. She's one of them and is probably going against one of the most hated people at Ignite. That is Chris Aries. Now, Chris has been wanting this title for some time. He was involved in the triple threat match at the end of the last show with Aluna and had the match won. Aluna did end up picking up the victory, although Chris did hit the Claymore kick on Harrison Leon, who was the 3rd person in that match. So he kind of believes that Aluna stole that victory. So they get to go 1-on-1 in this one. So those are your 2 with your storylines. The next one is a tag team match with the CPF, like I mentioned, the close personal friends, Joe Lando and Danny Black. They're coming against a team that they've recommended to Ignite, who have been making their debut, their first class flyers. They've been on the UK scene, tearing it up in some of the other promotions on there for the last year or so. And we're very excited to be having them on board, and to have them against CPF is going to be an almighty tag match. And finally, the fourth match of 6 that has been announced is Corey McRae, who is the longest reigning to this day Ignite champion. He was Ignite champion for 14 months before losing it, funnily enough, to Gene Money, who then lost to Chris Aries, who cashed in his breakout contract at the time. And he's going against Jaden Williams, someone who has come back to the British scene after taking a few years away to complete university. He come back the back end of last year, or the early part, of last year, has made a name for himself at Ignite, and opportunity to take on one of Ignite's best wrestlers on February the 15th.
Listen, this is already sounding like a pretty interesting card, to say the very least. We got a triple threat match that could go in any direction. I'm very leery about my championship being on, like, 'cause I used to be an indie guy. Like I worked on the indies from 99 to like 2005 and late 2005. So I had regional championships, but I was always really extra leery about triple threat matches or multi-person matches, and my championship was on the line, because I don't have to just worry about one. I got to worry about what's going on behind me, what's going on beside me, because not only do you have the intangible of that third person, there's no disqualification at that point. So anything can and is likely to happen. And it just, if I'm champ walking into this, I'm going to have my head on a big swivel the entire way around.
Luckily enough, Taylor's got his big tall Tom Mercer with him as well, so that's always going to be an equalizer to some extent.
There is a heater involved, and now that just makes it that much more dangerous for anyone else involved, because this guy could jump in and just wreck house at any point. I think what is great about all this is the passion and in the genuine authenticity behind what you're trying to do, and I can so appreciate it on different levels, especially like with Ignite specifically. Like, my goal is to do this with as many companies as I can. If I can help you, if my platform can help you, then I am here for you. Let's do it, right? Like, that's the name of the game. And I do have several companies that are just like, my heart, like my near and dear. I'll do anything for them. Doesn't matter. All they got to do is ask. They say, hey, can you? I say, yes, I can. And to know that you have that same passion for Ignite, and that you guys are working genuinely together, and it just shows that collaboration can happen. And this, this little harebrained dream of mine to end bullshit and end politics and tribalism and make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity to succeed can happen, because you're doing it with Ignite right now. So like that just lights a further fire under my ass to get this thing rolling in the States, man. Because we can all start a collective movement here where we can work together and open up so many different doors. Because like for me, I'm not, and I don't want this to sound wrong by any means, I'm not focusing on like top tier independent guys. Like, don't get me wrong. I've talked to many of them. I love them, and I will cover them just like I will anybody else. I'm really garnered in towards the younger demographic right now, because those are the guys that are going to be entertaining and girls, or they're going to be entertaining us for the next several decades. Yeah. That's what I'm looking at. Like, that's where I think that we have such a big opportunity. And if there were more podcasters and more people out there that can pull this together, like we can make a difference, and it can be a positive difference. And like I said, you're proof positive of that right now, and it only serves as motivation for me. So thank you for that and sharing that story, because again, we don't talk about any of this before we come on the air.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And I'm really happy that you guys are doing it out there as well. And you made a good point with the younger guys because Ignite, like I said, they're bringing back the breakout division, which has done so well for the UK independent scene. And I know the names that are coming out in February. I can't announce it yet because the match hasn't been announced, but it's going to be another triple threat match, I believe, with three of the top guys from, well, the younger guys, and a couple of them that I've, well, not say scouted myself, but given the seal of approval, so to speak, when I've gone and watched these shows. So it's going to be even more exciting for me to see them debut at Ignite, knowing that I've had a hand in bringing the guys in.
So I'm going to ask you this question. While we can't talk about who, do we know when the match will be announced so that we can keep our eyes peeled to social media and be the first to know when it breaks?
I believe it's going to be announced in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
And I will make sure that you are all tagged and collaborated in it once it is.
Yes, please, and thank you, because we definitely like to get our eyes on, especially the younger generation, man. Like there's, I have a take like COVID as specifically, like it was terrible. It was not the best of times for anybody, like period. But it kind of was because with everything shut down, these guys have nothing to do but train, nothing to do but get ready. And I think it's a piece of the boom that we're seeing everywhere with this youth movement that's insane. There's a guy right now, like his name's Devious Cass. Brother is just turned 19, maybe 18. 19, sorry. 18, because he's just traveling now. Been doing this since he was 12. And is like, I think this guy's the next big thing. I totally think this guy's got it. And you to have a hand in a little piece of what's happening there is huge for us. And where we're headed is as far as wrestling in general. Like I have this fucking crazy idea that we can work together. And like with the younger crowd or anybody over in the UK, if they're coming over here to the States and they're going to be here for, 2 or 3 months, that you can put them in touch with me and I can say, yep, I can put you to work here. I can put you to work here. I can put you to work here. Can you make that? And give these guys some opportunities. And hopefully, the door works both ways. If I have somebody who's coming over there for, an excursion for 2 months, that I can say, hey, why don't you go hit up these guys? Maybe they can work something out. Maybe you guys can get something, because nobody can guarantee anything, right? But we can at least fucking try.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, even just not even Ignite. If the Ignite aren't running on those days that they're over, got contacts elsewhere. I'm sure I can at least, as you say, at least put them in touch with the people that can make those decisions.
Yes.
And if we can make magic happen from either side of the pond, then it helps those guys because they get the bookings that they need in the UK or the US. And again, they learn again because they come over here, learn the US way, learn the Japanese way, the Japanese strong style, learn the UK way. It's all great if we can all work together and build that foundation for them in a lot of ways.
Yes.
It just goes a long way for them and they just learn so much. They'll come back off that tour and be like, wow, this was incredible. And again, take that into what they do next when they get back. And it's a wonderful feeling when you've had that little bit, when you can say, do you know what, I've in a way helped that guy with learning some new stuff by making sure they've got some bookings over in the States or vice versa over here in the UK.
It's about the experience, I think, and being able to do that, because like, just as well as I do with professional wrestling, the learning never stops. If at any point in time someone says, oh, I can't learn anything else, I know it all, and you probably need to get out of the industry and get into a new profession because you can constantly learn. And I just know that there's possibilities out there, and really and truly seeing that the work with Ignite and seeing that the partnerships, it can happen and it can have a very positive impact on the scene in general. That gives me hope. That gives me, okay, we're definitely on the right track here, and doing something that can be meaningful in a way. And I think that it's a beautiful thing to see.
It is, yeah. And again, I always love it when we see these younger guys go and do better things. And, even the former champions that I've had, had a chance. And again, you may not have been someone you're familiar with, Mark True, who's done some progress in Rev Pro stuff, and he's been to Japan and he's worked in some of the, the iconic arenas over there. And the fact that he was my champion for 6 or 7 months, we didn't necessarily see eye to eye at Ignited. It's a show that he threw the title at me and refused to defend it in February of last year. So, but the guy is just amazingly talented. And when you see them get some of the matches that they've had, I mean, I think they took on the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows at Rev Pro as Mark True and Kieran Lacey, the tag team. And to see that and just think, he was my champion, it's a little bit, I say selfish pride, but it's just so good when you see how far they've come. And Nino Bryan, another one from Ignite, took on Leo Rush and Ricochet recently for the national championship over at Rev Pro. And to see again, Foundation started at Ignite, he's then going to face the AEW national champion. There's a sense of pride in that Ignite can take, because if it wasn't for the likes of Ignite and other promotions, of course, I'm not just, there's other promotions that he was at, Rumble Wrestling and WrestleForce.
Sure.
To do that, and then he's taken on Ricochet. It's just an incredible feeling for you can boast about it in a way that, hey, listen, it's part of us. We got this leeway, and now look at this guy. He's now wrestling the likes of Ricochet. It's possible. All they got to do is train, learn, and if we can help them with the learning side of things, or educate them to go and wrestle some of the other guys in the US or Japan or somewhere else, it's only going to better their performance, better them to go and do those types of things that the Nino Bryans of this world and the Michael Okus of this world are doing.
You're speaking my language with Nino Bryan. I think that guy is tremendous. We've watched him in several different companies all over the UK, and for me, like when it comes to the UK wrestling, let me ask you this, and this is maybe put you in the hot seat for a minute. Who are some of your favorites over there in the scene right now, on the indie scene? And let me know what I'm gonna blanket it a little bit, because like I know all the mainstream names. I know you know what I mean? I know the Okus. I know the Jacobs. I know all those cats. They're fucking fantastic. And it's not a knock on them at all. I want people that maybe I don't know, that maybe I should be watching. So this is a question that I do ask the guys and girls when they come on, is who should I be watching in their areas? Let me ask you that, because you have a closer knit to the UK scene, and maybe have eyes on some of those hidden gems. Who should I be watching? Who should I be paying attention to that maybe is under the radar right now?
I would say it's under the radar is such an interesting one, because to me they may be under the radar. To others, they like taking. What are you telling them for? They've been, but Will Cruz is one.
Yes, he's fantastic.
Cruz. I mean, yeah, you know about him. He's ridiculous. Tommy Tanner. There you go. Tommy Tanner. He's been wrestling 1 year. Right, and his dream, and he said it on the podcast, I want a WWE tryout. That's what he wants, right? That in 1 year, Tommy Tanner's gone from training with Greg Burridge, who's a great British wrestler from past times gone by, to debuting at Progress Wrestling in less than a year. That could take a wrestler 5 or 10 years to do. He's done it in one. So if you want a guy that's going to be doing some big things, Tommy Tanner is one of them. Again, a tag team that perhaps people do know, and they're probably like, why are you saying this? But Lycos Jim.
Yep.
They're two incredible teams. But I'm going to do a couple of younger guys now, maybe giving things away for what Ignite are going to be doing. But a couple of the younger guys, one of them actually debuted at Ignite at the last show. Isaac Blair.
Okay.
Is one that you guys need to be looking at. Archie Payne is another one. Regan Blade, Raymond O'Reilly is about 3 or 4 of the young, up and coming younger talent that I think, from what I've seen over here in the last 6 to 12 months, are going to have big 2026s without a doubt. And going in for the women's side, I know of Emerson Jane. She's one. LA Taylor is another one. She's ridiculously good. Aluna, who's our champion. I mean, I can't say enough great things. She's the nicest possible person you can meet. She's had a couple of matches and stuff at Rev Pro, but she's the definition of being everywhere on the scene. Trying to think. Anyone from the Cutthroat Collective in Rev Pro, Lizzie Evo.
Yes.
She's awesome. She's such a great heel. I know she's faced somewhere, but she's just a born heel. It must be the fact that she's from Liverpool. but she's just an incredible athlete. Nina Samuels, who's been there, seen it and done it. She deserves her opportunity. But I mean, obviously, and Alex Windsor, who's getting her opportunity now at AEW.
I think Lizzie Evo is a babyface in Liverpool only. And that's that's Lizzie is one of my favorites over on the scene over there that like did not, and I say like to me it's small things, right? So when we started our platform, one of the first people, like we do our Brit Rest spotlights every Saturday at 3 p.m. So like one of our first Brit Rest spotlight shows, like I think it was within our first 4 or 5, was on Lizzie. And I had just stumbled into her work. I had just seen some of her stuff, and like she didn't have to, like it probably wasn't anything big for her, but for us at the time, we were so small. Like she goes out and she retweets our stuff, or she would like and comment and followed us on social media. Like she didn't have to fucking do that. Like she doesn't know who the fuck we are, but she did. And I was just like, that was really cool. And it was just, okay, so maybe there are people out there that appreciate kind of like what we're trying to do here, is just to really educate ourselves and watch your stuff. And I mean, I get the other side of it. It's self-promotion. Hey, these guys are going to be watching me. I get it, but it's the backside, like the commenting and the liking and all that stuff. You didn't have to do all that, and stuff like that. And I always have a connection. She's one of the ones that I want to talk to on Beyond the Bell. And we've had several set up, but there are things that are out of our control that happen, and they always seem to come right after a match. And there was one we were going to talk to her. She took on Rio the night before, and it was the night that she took the pile driver on the apron.
Yeah,
and she was like, "I am just banged up." I was like, "No, ma'am, you go get with your rest. We'll figure this out later. No worries." But
she's incredible. Oh, one other name. Sorry, James Ellis. I need to throw him out there.
The Brilliance himself. I came across his work through Slammasters, and
another promotion we work with. Yeah, Slammasters.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Okay. See, they're very good friends of ours.
Yes, Carlito coming over as well with them.
Okay, that's dope. So now we have to talk more off air. We have to figure out
Carlito taking on the Brilliance, funnily enough, at the next show.
So we do, anytime they put their stuff out, we immediately do a watch party for them. Like that's part of and I'll clip their stuff and say, hey, you can go check the full show out here at Slammasters on YouTube. That's kind of how we try and drive traffic away, and I hide the videos for months. And I'll release them after the fact, just so we don't cross and try and step on stuff. So if you watch it live with us, you watch it live with us. If you watch it on replay, probably see it months later. But Slammasters is great. I love that company. I love what they're doing out there.
He's brilliant. Jonathan, the guy that runs, is a fantastic guy.
How did you get hooked up with them?
Fun enough, we when we first started, we started by, there was a small wrestling company that's actually just relaunching in Wales, Pro Wrestling Carnage, and one of their promoters at the time is the Brilliance's manager, who you may have seen.
Blanche!
Here he is, that's the man. Yeah, so in from there, he got us in touch with Slammasters. We went and done a lot of things. We pretty much, didn't say watch party, we actually went to a couple of their shows in Cardiff, but we, a bit like you said, we'll heavily promote it, go and, send bits and pieces, do previews, whatnot. We went to Cardiff and met Rhino, met Eric Young there as well, and just had a tremendous time. Met Jonathan, showed up Slammasters, and we try. Hopefully this year we unfortunately didn't get a chance to go last year. We normally do like the show at the back end of the year, which is in October. Didn't get a chance last year. Hopefully this year we're going to get to go and see them again, and hopefully meet some more, say hello to the friends of go and check out some great wrestling in Wales.
They've got a really good product, and Blanche was one of the first on our first watch parties that followed on Instagram, because I was giving him shit, because when I think Blanche, I think Golden Girls, and I was like, that's not a Dorothy. I said something like that, and he was like, I am not Dorothy. And I was like, I said you're not Dorothy.
Did he call you a Straub?
I don't remember. He did or he didn't. This was 2 years, like about a year and a half ago. Year and a
Ah,
half, 2
couple
years
years
ago.
ago, yeah.
I think the first show that we stumbled into was Banking Hall 2 or 3.
Okay, I think we went to 4.
I think, and we've seen everything. I think it was 3 was the one that we saw because I think Doris dropped the championship to somebody. And
was that Martin?
Yes.
Lost to Martin.
Yeah. And then we backtracked and watched everything else, and we're up to date 100% on their product and what they got going on. What kind of big things you got coming up in 2026, man? Obviously, the last couple of years have been great for you, as we hear. But what's on your horizons? What are some big anything that you want to talk about? Any kind of projects you want to talk about coming up?
You know what? Funnily enough, the podcast prediction league we've just announced. That was funnily enough. This was my co-host David. He's like, we need to do something where we can bring podcasts together and stuff like that. And we're all about that collaboration, doing this, doing up. I Love Wrestling, obviously, with Justin and loads of others. And I just got thinking, like, what could we do that could bring us sort of those podcasts together? And I was like, how about like a prediction league that we start with TNA Genesis in a couple of weeks, and we'll get a few podcasts involved, and we'll do it throughout the year. And it's a bit of fun at the end of the day, but we can go on each other, collaborate with them, and such and such. So that's one of the things that. We're continuing the partnership with relationship with TNA, which is a massive thing, and that come to us through a referral from another podcast. So again, it's about giving back, right? They gave us an opportunity to do interview with the TNA guys through another podcast, and then that's gone on. So giving back to that, continuing more stuff with Ignite with the championship, hopefully bringing some other more big names in for our champion, whoever that may be, after February, and continuing with the NWA as well. We've got, again, a great sort of partnership or relationship, should we say, with the NWA. Breaking down the AEW door very, very, very slowly, but we've been fortunate enough to have press tickets to Forbidden Door last year, and the last taping in Manchester they've done, the Christmas Collision that David went to. Hopefully we'll get that again for Forbidden Door and get some more talent interviewed there. But more importantly, continuing to fight a good fight for the independent scene over in England and the country, right? Because we're bringing back Independent Showcase, which is our show that we talk to the independent wrestlers. Nikki Blackheart's coming on. We recorded with Nikki very, very soon. With that one, Ricky Sosa is coming on as well to do that. There's a couple of names there.
Talk about a talent that is on the rise. Sorry, didn't mean to step on you, brother.
Exactly that.
Literally watched 2 hours of Sosa yesterday.
There you go.
Fantastic. Sorry, didn't mean to step on you.
No, absolutely no. Brilliant. He is fantastic. Jay Joshua, pro champion, coming on as well. Very to do our internet. We've gone international. We done the Trailblazers. Some of those younger guys, Art Payne, Isaac Blair, Regan Blade, were all a part of that the series we done last year. So. But this year we're ramping it up. We're going international, and we're doing some of the international talent. There's a couple of other names that I'm working on at the moment. Obviously, I'm not going to tell it unless it's pretty much confirmed.
No, we know how that rolls.
We know, right? I don't like to say things that don't happen, but I'm really just to continue really with trying to increase that part, increase them, I suppose, in a lot of senses. Do more for them as much as we can for Ignite and the other British. Yeah, we go and see some other shows that are local to us as well. We give them exposure, and those are the type of things that we're going to be doing this year.
I can't wait to see, man. The ride. I know that our paths have just recently crossed, face to face, obviously now. But I can't wait to see what happens in 2026. I think that we've got a lot of things moving in the right direction, and I do think that you guys are doing some really good stuff. And I love the fact that you're trying to bring in to get collaborations going and to breaking down some walls on the podcasting side of the equation. Because my experiences in the past have not been the best when it came to like trying to work with people and trying to collaborate with people. But telling you, hooking up with you and Justin and Matt, like this whole thing is very special, and I can't wait to see what we do moving forward, and definitely want to be that bridge for guys over in the UK that want to try and get out this way to If I can't put them to work, I can put them in touch with people who can, and see what that looks like, because together we can all make a difference. It's bound to happen.
Exactly that, and vice versa. We got some people coming over from the States to the UK. Like I said, if it's not Ignite, I can at least put those feelers out there to the right people that can, and they can let them talk and see if it's possible. And likewise, once I know of a few people that are going to, because they put it out there all the time. The UK talent will go, we're going to America all the time. I can just say, hey, reach out to Chris at this company at CCP, and he may be able to get you on, or if not, he can contact with the people in and around that particular area that you are, and perhaps get you some bookings.
Exactly. And that's the name of the game. That's it. And it's all for their benefit too, man. I think the more screens that these guys are on, these girls are on now, the better. The more companies that they're out there working for, the better. The more reps that they're getting, it just means that they are getting better. And a lot of these guys and girls are hella talented as is. Imagine how much better they could be if they get reps in different places too. And I think that's the best thing too I think with our platform is it's not just in the States. We do have international flavor. Like I can get people in Portugal. I can get people in South America. I can get people in Australia. It's not just here in the States. We can make some things happen if you guys can't. You know what I mean? Like if you run into brick walls, hey, maybe I can get through that brick wall, and vice versa. I think that this is going to be fucking fantastic for everybody involved. And I think we're all going to be, kind of standing at the top of that mountain saying, we did this and we built this, and this is something that we can all be proud of.
Definitely. Absolutely. 1,000,000% agree with that. And it's always exciting to be a part of that.
Absolutely. Well, listen, let me ask you this before we get ready to close things down and tie a bow on things. Is there anything out there that you want to talk about? Is there anything you want to plug? Anything, outside of obviously the social media and all that jazz is right there, but is there anything that you want to talk about? Or anything you want to promote?
Ignite, literally, guys. If you want to come, you're in the UK or UK at February the 15th. I know it's after Valentine's Day over here, but there's no better way, right, to send your partner some wrestling on a Sunday after you've done some Valentine's Day. So go to 96 Eventbrite, type in Ignite Wrestling Chapter 5. The tickets are there. They are going quite quickly, but they are still some available. Go to that. You will not be disappointed. You'll see some of the best names and some of the best up and coming names in Brit Rest. So if you can't go to Ignite, if you can't go to that show, I'll be posting a lot about all the other shows throughout the year. So make sure that you get there. And lastly, if you are a wrestler that is thinking about changing up your theme this year, go and hit up David Bartholomew and Will Scar, who, if you want to hear their work, for starters, go to If We Wrote the Theme on Spotify. They do cover songs of wrestling themes, pay-per-view themes. They've done some wrestling themes in the US and the UK. But if you are in the need of a theme for next year, go and check those guys out and hit them up, and they'll get you a theme ready for wherever you're done double quickly, and they are great at what they do. So hit them up as well.
Well, fantastic. We'll clip that and we'll throw that out there as a plug for them. We just need to get their tag. Send me that info and I'll put that out there into the universe, brother. I appreciate you coming in and giving me and chatting with me for about an hour or so here, man. This has been the first of what I hope is several conversations to come throughout 2026. Obviously, we do have a partnership and a collaboration with I Love Wrestling Pod and Throwdown with Matt. We're working on putting group shows together. We don't have a concept yet. We don't know what they look like, but sometimes those are the best shows, is just to come in and sit down and just talk shop about wrestling and what's going on in your areas. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but we want you a part of that too. And I know that we did the first one with Matt and I a couple of weeks ago, but we probably need to circle around and get a date together for the second one. I hope we can get you on those as well, because I think it's going to be great to have perspective from everybody.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, love to do that. And hey, look, the Royal Rumble's right. That's a good time for the UK. So watch party time, right?
That is fact. Actually, when is I think my show is on.
Your show is the same day. I was thinking about it. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh shit! 31st. Is it the 31st?
I think it is.
I didn't even think about that. Well, probably won't sell out this year.
We done Buckle Up. Our second Buckle Up was on the same day as the European football final, and it was the first time England had got there to the final in year. So you can imagine the panic across our faces at that point. when we realised that England were in the final. It was on the same day as our show, but we worked it out. It was fine.
Well, I may have to work that out myself. So we'll see. We'll see what's happening. Listen, for our guest today, the easiest way is you can show your supporters by sharing, and subscribing. It's been on screen the entire show. Hit them up on Linktree at Hitting the Turnbuckle Podcast, and you'll get links to everything, all social media, YouTube, the whole shebang. And as well, it's right there, Instagram. It's on the screen. It's just super small, so I can't see it. It's HTTBuckle. So Hitting the Turnbuckle over on Instagram. Look, merch right there. Grab it. You can grab one of those too. Listen, it's been my pleasure, man, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Chris. It's been great talking to you guys. Really, really appreciate you inviting me on.
Absolutely. Guys, we'll be back today. If you're live with us across all platforms, we'll be back at 3 o'clock for Wrestling Request Live. Then we've got a watch party later on tonight at 6 o'clock with our friends from Primal Pro Wrestling out in San Diego. Primal Rage, it's Jeremiah Fresh and Jake Redondo taking on Yasin Khan and Tariq Tarvos. Don't want to miss that. That'll be tonight at 7 o'clock. We will see you next time.